What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we're talking all about my first impressions of the Adidas Boston 10. It's been a long time since I've run in an Adidas shoe, but I have a long history with Adidas going all the way back to my days of soccer, like playing in the Copa Mundial, I think that's how you say it. Used to have many pairs of those and all sorts of other Adidas shoes, but it's been a minute since I've run in an Adidas, and this is also my first time ever trying a Boston. There's been some major overhauls over the last couple years, and especially from the 9 to the 10. So I'm coming into this with a completely set of fresh eyes and fresh feet, I guess you could say, because I have no history with the Boston shoe. And so if you are interested in trying out the Boston for the first time, but you haven't run in any of the previous versions, this might be the video for you because I have no preconceived opinions about this shoe. So I'm just gonna tell you what I thought about this one. Like I said, this is my first impressions, first run in the Adidas Boston 10, and I did pay for this shoe with my own money, so there's that. But my first run, just about 10.5 miles, and if you want to check it out on Strava, go ahead, there's a link down below. I was able to get a lot of different types of running in during this 10-mile run, and my opinions of this shoe changed dramatically over the 10 miles. When you look at this shoe, it looks like it should be very cushioned. This top layer up here, you have Light Strike Pro, and then the bottom layer is just the regular Light Strike. And it does change from the heel to the forefoot, so you've got different ratios in the front and the back. There is a 39mm stack height in the back and 31mm in the front, giving you a drop of 8mm. And when I weighed this in my size 11.5, it came in at 11.76 ounces. So definitely not like a super light racer. With the name Boston 10, you would think this is going to be a marathon shoe, but it was a little bit heavier than I expected for like a marathon shoe. On the outsole, we have Continental rubber, and there are these fiberglass rods in the midsole as well, giving you a little bit different type of interaction with the ground than you would have had it been just foam. So let's get into my first impressions and what I thought about this shoe. And when you look at it, like I said, it looks like it should be very cushioned, and especially when you see that there's 39mm of stack in the back and 31 in the front. Like, it just, like, there's a lot of foam underneath your foot. But when I put it on, my first impression was, no, this is not that cushioned. It's actually pretty firm, just like walking around and doing my stretches and rolling out a little bit. But I said, you know what, like, I'm just gonna get into my run, and I'm not gonna have any like opinions about it just from walking around. I wanna see how this Light Strike and Light Strike Pro foam handles actually running. I will say though, this shoe looks really good. There's a little bit of throwback feel with some of the materials that they used on the top, and I just love the kind of like minimal like logo design on the sides. It's just a really slick looking shoe, and it looks like it should be fast. So as we get into my run, the first couple miles did feel really good, and I was kind of like, okay, like there is that sort of like semi-plush feeling that I was expecting. And I feel like it kind of has a little bit to do with the amount of energy I was putting into the shoe, because it did respond really well when I was kind of like putting a little bit extra work into it and giving it those paces of anything kind of like below 8:15 per mile. But towards the end of the run, I did slow down just a little bit, and I was doing a little bit of like stopping and starting, and I was also testing this pack that I was wearing, so I was doing a lot of adjusting and kind of like doing a few things with that. But anytime I did slow down a little bit, I noticed that it just wasn't as comfortable. And so anything for me slower than about an 8:30 pace was just kind of like, it just like there was like a hard cutoff, like right in there. Like slower than 8:30, it didn't feel great. Faster than 8:15, and it did kind of feel like, okay, this is where this shoe is meant to live. But the last couple miles, I was feeling ready to be done with the shoe. Like my legs were getting more tired than they should have been at 8 miles into a run. And I was just kind of like, oh, this shoe's kind of feeling like kind of blocky. Like it's not responding as well as I want it to anymore. It feels like it's kind of like taking some energy away from me, which is very surprising because this is called the Boston. Like, I was expecting this to be a marathon shoe. But once I got past those 8 miles, 9 miles, 10 miles, I was like, yeah, like I'm just ready to be out of this shoe. Like, I think it's much more suited for sort of that 5-6 mile run, or if you're going to pick up the pace quite a bit, it's going to respond a lot better to that type of run. Initially at the beginning of the run, I was feeling the rocker, I was getting that energy return, and I was feeling like it was kind of propelling me forward. But later in the run, that kind of just like disappeared, and it was super weird. Like, I didn't totally understand it because it wasn't like I wasn't changing my pace that much, but there's a very, very like hard cutoff. I will say that, like right around that for me, 8:15 to 8:30 pace. Anything slower than that, and it was just like, it felt like a block of wood kind of underneath my foot. Anything faster than that, and I was like, okay, the shoe woke up. Let's go, let's run. As far as the upper goes though, I really love the upper. The tongue is a really interesting design, and I'll show you a little bit of close-ups here, but it's got this padding up here at the top, and almost your last line of laces goes right beneath the padding, and so it kind of like holds your tongue up, and it allows it to kind of like sit in its spot and not move around very much. I did have to use the lace lock method because I just had a lot of open space right around the heel collar, and once I put those lace lock method of lacing in, it just worked really well. But yeah, everything about the upper was super comfortable, zero issues. Like you saw in the video, I was running in the rain, running through puddles. There was some times where it was pouring, sometimes where it was just sprinkling a little bit, but did just fine. Like, didn't have any water holding inside the shoe or anything. It was able to drain really well. So I was really pleased with that. I think the whole issue that people are gonna have is whether or not this midsole works for you. And I'm gonna be very, very interested to see what happens to this as I take this closer to 50 miles. Is this midsole gonna open up, or is it gonna stay the same, or is it gonna get worse? Like, it's really hard to tell at this point, because over the course of 10 miles, I feel like this was like two different shoes, like two completely different shoes. And I have not watched other review videos of the Adidas Boston 10. Like, I never watch other YouTubers review videos before I do my own, but judging based off of the Strava, Instagram, and Twitter comments after my run today, this is a people are very divided on this shoe. Like, you either love it or you hate it. I just have to say that I thought that was really, really funny, because like immediately there was people that were like, I love the shoe. And then there were people like, this is the worst shoe in the world. Only time will tell. I'm gonna keep running in this shoe. I'm very excited about the Boston 10. I have hopes that this shoe is gonna open up and become a really nice shoe once I figure out like exactly the paces that this shoe wants to live in. But I'm also a little bit scared that this is maybe like a dud. That's why we do these things. That's why we don't quit after one run. I'm gonna keep running in this shoe. It didn't cause me any pain or anything like that. So yes, I'm gonna keep running in it, take it to 50 miles, and let you know what I think in the full review. So thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video today. I'll see you again soon. Bye.